Hey, we were live, Melody.
We're live.
All right.
We're here on The Real Raw. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Melody is in the amazing slot of Vivian Guzman. So welcome, Melody. How are you?
I am doing absolutely phenomenal. I was just sharing with the audience. I'm just coming down from the high of representing the United States yesterday in a global forum that was hosted by Dubai. So it was myself and an international ambassador of goodwill that served under President Obama's administration that was hand-selected to represent the United States in a very amazing platform. Yes.
Yeah, there's some people on here who are like, yeah, I was getting like a sub from Jersey Mike's yesterday. We're hosting like global summit with the country. Like, what is happening? And now you're on The Real Raw. Like, amazing. So which is more important, The Real Raw or like representing the United States?
Actually, I would say both, because Thursday was all about the United States representation and social conscious leadership and empowerment, right? And leadership and integrity and global influence. And today it's about being with this game changers. And I get to take a back seat and just read the bios and just enjoy all of this.
Well, Melody, thank you so much for being here. So let's drop right in with the rock stars. Because by the way, this is The Real Raw, and we're here to unlock integrity-based heart-centered influence and demonstrate its superpowerness and everything that comes along with what we do with it. And so we got some awesome folks today, starting with you, Melody. So thanks so much for being here. Anyway, do you want to do some intros?
Absolutely. So starting off, we've got the first role player, Anil Gupta. Anil Gupta overcame suicide in 2008 and has since then formulated the happiness formula spoken on Fox News, Harvard University, Sky TV, TEDx, and written a bestseller book called Immediate Happiness and founded the Happiness Score. So Anil's Perfect Partner program truly helps remove blockages that prevent people living fulfilled lives in just a matter of hours.
Anil, how are you, brother? How are you?
Yeah, it feels like it's been such a long time since I was on your show.
I know, it's been 23 hours.
23 hours, 8 minutes.
Thank you. So welcome back, and thank you for your awesomeness.
Always my pleasure.
Thank you. Melody, we have like participants that are amazing.
Absolutely, yes. We actually have Patricia Marseille. And it says a few things about her. She's currently an executive at Walt Disney Company for international trade compliance. She loves what she does there, and recently she's added to new entrepreneurial ventures to her repertoire in leadership development coaching, where she helps leaders build leadership development systems in their organization, and virtual retreats for women to gain restoration, connection, and empowerment. Her entrepreneur's business name is PM Marseille, and fun fact about her, in 2013, she took a sabbatical from her career and went backpacking around the world for a whole year. She traveled in 11 countries and 32 cities.
Whoa. Patricia, how are you?
I am well. How are you?
I am great, but I feel this compulsion to be totally self-interested for a minute. Would that be like okay?
Yeah, totally.
So talk to me. Do you have any optics on the Star Wars hotel at Disney? I'm like wondering where it is, how things are going, and like, do you have any optics?
Everything that I know I cannot talk about. I know
that was my level 1 listening, total selfishness, and just asking. But I am a super fan of Disney, and your work is wildly impressive. So appreciate you being here.
Sean, Thank you.
He's also a fellow platinum partner, Sean. So maybe you could get some insight on one of your trips.
All right, how about this? I'll trade you stories about like Tony Robbins' bedroom if you would trade me stories about the Star Wars hotel.
All in the vault.
Here's a true story. Tony and Sage's bed is so huge. On the Lions trip, there were 12 of us hanging out, and Tony has the biggest television I have ever seen and the biggest bed anybody has ever seen. And we all took like a fun picture watching on this unbelievable sound system, incredible television. We watched the scene in The Greatest Showman where the female lead is like singing that incredibly emotional song, and everybody had like tears coming down their face as they're taking a picture, all like laying in this giant bed in Tony Robbins' house. So that was
that's so cool. That's very cool. I've heard a lot about that bed and how huge it is. I've heard how massive it is.
Crazy. Did you make it to Wyoming, or you did not?
I did, and I was hoping to run into you. I heard you were there, but I didn't see you, and so I missed you.
Missed you too. Did you do barrel racing?
I did it all. Did the rock climbing, the barrel racing, the hot air balloon, the whitewater rafting, the rock climbing, all of it.
That is super awesome. Well, it's a pleasure, Patricia, to see you, and thank you for all the awesomeness you're up to in the world, even if you can't disclose any Disney secrets, but thank you for your integrity.
No problem. Much appreciated.
And Melody, you have another amazing participant today.
Yes, we actually have a judge, Kuda Biza. He's a co-founder and CMO of Nunbelievable, a mission-based cookie company. Did I just said cookie? Yep, cookie company that donates meals for every box of cookies sold. Also the author of Spear Method, which is 5 simple steps to balance success and fulfillment. His book launched on, hey, congratulations, August 1st, 2020. Mission statement is he builds profitable companies to solve the world's biggest problems in education and hunger. As a seasoned executive, he has served in progressive corporate leadership roles and successfully built 6 businesses and a nonprofit from scratch. His successes include, but is not limited to, manage P&L for a $75 million e-commerce business. With only $150 in startup capital, he launched a profitable clothing line from a college dorm room, resulting in the education of more than 100 children in Africa. In less than 3 years, he has also helped take a new meal delivery business venture from 0 to $20 million in sales. And don't forget the fun fact, his first book, The Spear Method, got published just this past weekend.
Yay. Kuda, how are you?
I'm great. How about you, Sean?
Great. Congratulations on the launch.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Wouldn't have done it without you.
No, that's definitely not true, but I appreciate it. And I appreciate the small but very meaningful to me reference to our relationship and some of the work that we're doing. I really appreciate you.
Thank you. And it's a pleasure to be here. I'm really excited. It's my first time, so can't wait to be a judge and experience a real raw today.
And Kuda and I met up at an event in Rhinebeck, New York, and Kuda was there with like the Nunbelievable cookies, and we sort of stumbled in, and I tried these cookies, and they were absolutely unbelievable. And then it was like not unbelievable, unbelievable, and I was actually involved in some of the behind the scenes dynamics with some of the fine folks with discussing catchphrases and other things, and it's been beautiful to watch this all building and where it's headed, Kuda, and especially your career and your book and your insight and your impact in the world. And so really, thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
All right.
Okay, next up we have judging as Paul Criscuolo. Paul is a tax transactional attorney specializing in tax consultation, tax due diligence, deal strategy, business plan evaluation, synergy assessment, and post-deal integration. He has over 20 years of specialized tax and transactional consulting and has consulted in over $300 billion of M&A transactions across all industries.
No, did you say 300 billion?
Yes, it has a letter B on the bio.
That's a
$300 billion of M&A transactions across all industries and for a wide range of clientele, including consulting on the largest free market M&A transaction based on equity value in corporate history. He has also served as an adjunct professor of law at Seton Hall University School of Law and has been an elected official in his hometown for over 15 years.
Well, this is one upstanding man.
Yes.
Cool dude. And Melody, I'm going to tell you one more fun fact.
What is it?
Paul was my first best friend. We met when we were 6 years old.
Oh, how amazing is that?
Yes, we went to first grade together. Hey, Paul, how are you?
I'm doing great, Sean. And I'm going to give you another fun fact, okay? I as well am a huge Disney fan, but I am not as cool as Sean. My favorite Disney character is actually Winnie the Pooh. And to attest to it, I'm going to show you, I don't know if you could see it, my collection of Winnie the Pooh figurines, which I've got about 40 or so. So
That's awesome, Paul. I didn't even know you had that.
Not as cool with the Star Wars, but certainly a Disney fan as well.
That is super cool. And Patricia, may I share one more fun fact with you and everybody.
Absolutely.
Paul and I have punched each other in the face many times. And we were 6 years old, 7 years old, 8 years old. We were both very alpha athletes on the playground and best friends. And we had many a rumble over like baseball, football, and other general fun things.
In love and integrity.
Yes. Integrity. Yeah.
Should have brought Pooh Bear into the picture.
Yeah.
And Paul coached my son. I've coached his, and we've had our lives intersecting since we're little kids and to this day. So Paul, brother, it's a pleasure to have you here. And that is true. Paul worked on the largest transaction M&A deal in history, period.
Yeah.
So Paul,
with a B, billion.
With a B. So thanks, Paul. And Melody, yeah, this is a
Yes, absolutely. I love the whole that your best friend since you were both 6 years old didn't know that you collected Winnie the Pooh. So
that is true, because we would definitely not have told each other that.
Right, exactly. That I was not sharing at 6.
but so we have a world exclusive right here, secret that just came out on your show.
That is super true. Super true.
All right. And moving on to the next one, I have Judge Jack Tavares. Jack Tavares is originally from Connecticut and moved to South Florida in 1995. Soon after that, he started his company from his garage. 17 years later, he is now in multiple states looking to expand nationwide. He loves to cultivate new business and help other businesses or other business owners. Having just turned a young, tender age of 46, he's now focused on healthy habits, working out, enlightening himself, contributing to others, and learning more. He loves spending time with his family. He has got 2 daughters. He travels to Portugal to see his grandmother. He sees old cars and a glass of wine, an occasional cigar, and always enjoys a great restaurant.
Well, Jack, welcome. And by the way, do you collect Disney figurines as well?
Yes, I have 2 daughters. We have Disney stuff all over the house, and we live in Florida.
That is awesome.
Nice.
Yes, we do have Disney here.
Yeah. How about any fun fact from you besides your Disney figurine collection?
Fun fact: I joined the Platinum Partners without ever having done a Tony Robbins event or knowing anything about it. Jumped in January, and unbelievable timing because everything just worked out perfectly. And so, yeah, that was a fun fact. I like to try things without much thought ahead of time. I like to just jump into things.
Well, cool. Awesome, Jack. And Jack, by the way, how the heck did you even know about it, or like where'd that come from?
When I finished the team management leadership with Landmark.
Yeah.
And that was a 2-year commitment. When I finished that, I was like, okay, what's the next thing? And one of my coaches said, go do the business mastery. It's coming up in January in West Palm Beach. And I said, all right. And then they called me back and said, you know what? I know your personality. Why don't you just do the Platinum Partner? Ask them about Platinum Partnership. So I called them up. They gave me the information. I said, you know what? That's what I'll do is I'll join as Platinum Partner. So my first event, Business Mastery, was as a Platinum Partner. And then I went to Idaho for that event. And then the world fell apart.
It did. So you were at Tony's house.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So it was, but it all worked out. It was like just perfect timing because everything that happened the last 6 months wouldn't have happened had I not joined in the way I joined in like that. So it was all perfect.
All right. And how did let's be real, since we're in the real raw. How did I do in supporting raising money for Operation Underground Railroad? Were you in the room?
You were phenomenal. I remember sitting in the crowd going, who the hell is that guy? And I want to meet him. And I'm going to find out how to become a lion because I want to become a lion. And you did. It was phenomenal. That room, that day when I remember leaving that room, calling my wife and going, I can't even believe what just happened in this room because I'm used to sitting in Landmark rooms. And I'm like, can't even believe how much money was just raised in this room right now. And she was like, really? I'm like, yeah, it's just amazing. I was very moved by that whole series of events. It was really touching.
So thank you. And the outcome, what a great job you did. Everybody did. The outcome, I met beforehand with a number of people, was to hopefully raise $500,000 in the room, and for saving boys, girls, men, women from sex trafficking. We raised $1.7 million in half an hour. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, that was unbelievable. That was really moving.
So, well, welcome. But really, a
thank
pleasure.
You.
Yeah. So, and Melody, I think we have one more.
Yes, and just again to Sean And to Jack, thank you for that whole, just raising awareness in human trafficking. Not a lot of people understands that this is a $152 billion industry with over 40 million victims worldwide. So, the dent that we're all making just to help, end that. I just want to honor both of you for that work.
Well, thank you. And I want to honor Tony Robbins and say
Yes.
Tim Ballard, Operation Underground Railroad,
Mhm.
the heroes in that process. And so
Yes.
Millie, thank you for that acknowledgement. And really, we're always real and raw.
Mhm.
I had today my least optimal day in
Mhm.
probably 2 months. And it just, like my state was all like, I'm a 99.9%er in terms of like optimal state, like throughout the day. And just, it was like 7 different things happened that were not my preferences. And it was like, so coming in, it was still there, like, just like, getting through those dynamics and like getting into a great state. This is such an awesome group of people today. Not because of your accomplishments, just your heart and your energy. So thank you. Like you've given to me massively, not just with your presence, but your energy today, Melody and everybody here. So thank you.
Thank you. And then, of course, last but never the least, we have Zuby Onwuta. I believe he founded Black August, which is highlighting Black disabled entrepreneurs. He's the inventor of Think and Zoom, which is a brain control for blind assistive technology. He's also the founder or creator of Kenti Freebird, a brain-controlled mobile game that basically, he's also a neuroscience researcher. He's a patented inventor. He has won the Presidential Service Award by given to him by U.S. President Barack Obama, and he has been a 4 times TEDx speaker.
Dude, we have a straight up day of rock stars. Zuby, how are you?
Hey, Sean. Correction, that was a flyer for an event.
Oh, was it?
On Wednesday. So the event is called Black August.
Black
but
August.
all the info below my headshot is mine.
Awesome. So Zuby, how are you doing? And what's a fun fact about you besides all that super cool stuff?
Well, not a fun fact. I'll share something along the lines of what you just mentioned last. So I am legally blind. I have 3 rare genetic eye disorders, and I also have a brain disorder. So today's a very horrible day. I'm wearing shades because of photophobia, and I'm extremely exhausted. But I'm trying to power through, especially being amongst all these rock stars. So I'm glad to be here, even though I'm fatigued and don't have a lot of energy.
Oh, amazing. Well,
and I got the call 24 hours ago from Fernando to do this. So very little preparation too.
Well, thank you for your
we'll make it happen.
What are your eye conditions, Zuby?
2 defects to Stargardt's macular dystrophy, and then 1 to cone rod dystrophy.
Got it. And
they all attack, the cone and rod cells, but different ways.
Are you aware that I'm blind as well? I have retinitis pigmentosa.
I know that very well. I don't know how you're able to function extremely very well. I am yet to be able to talk to you one-on-one and learn some of that magic, but I know retinitis pigmentosa extremely too well. I've spoken at the Academy of Ophthalmologists 3 times, so I know exactly what you have, and I know a lot of people that have it, but you perform the best among all the people I know.
Yeah, thank you. What's odd is that my retinitis pigmentosa, most people, it's a tunneling of vision. Like I have no central, so I can't see anything on the screen at all. But I have wide peripheral, so I've adapted really well to move in space. So at times it looks like, wow, like doesn't really seem like he has an eye problem because I scan. So I'm kind of like, just like looking around, and I'm picking up where like aisles are, chairs are, objects are. So once I'm through a room one time, my memory is like really high of what's where. So I just kind of keep scanning back and forth because I could see my fingers out here. You can't see that, Zuby. Other people can. Obviously, it's wide. And then I can't see my finger here, 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 here. And then I pick it back up again out here. So that's my story. But thank you, Zuby, for being here and for battling through your exhaustion and fatigue on this fun Friday. Thank you.
Sure, no problem. And anyway, whenever we get to chat, I'll tell you about some cool spatial technology that hopefully in the future, all you have to do is think, where are my keys? And computer vision software will point you to where your keys are so you don't have to scan all over the place. I know that must be very tiring. I know exactly what that's like.
Yeah, it is super tiring. And my peripheral is still probably a fraction of what healthy peripheral is. So yes, that would be awesome. And it's the Real Raw, and we are ready to rock and roll, Melody. So thank you for all these awesome introductions. Very grateful. And yeah, you feel free to hang, and we'll kick it back to you at some point and see what's up. But we have Zuby, and Zuby, the mechanism, and Patricia, the mechanism, the way this goes is you get to have Anil Gupta be anybody you want him to be. He has graciously volunteered to do that. And this is all about hello to yes. So it's one conversation, one like 6-minute conversation, but it's split in half. And about halfway through, I'm going to be like, hey, Anil, you have a quick phone call. He's going to pause, and he's going to be like, I'll be right back. You don't have to set up a second phone call. You're just going to be like on hold. And then both of you will go, and then we'll both pick up the second half of the conversation after that. So Patricia, physically, where are you in the world today?
I'm in Orlando.
Orlando. Oh my goodness, the world of Disney, of course. And Zuby, where are you?
Ooh, what was that?
I was asking Zuby. Where's Zuby?
Oh, I'm in Austin, Texas.
Okay, so you're from further away from New Jersey. So Zuby, you're going to pick either a 1 or a 2. I have a 1 or a 2 under the table. What number do you think it is?
1.
It is a 2. So Patricia has won the toss. Patricia, would you like to go first or second?
What does going first mean? That I am making the phone call or receiving it?
Either way, you're both making the outbound phone call. It means you or Zuby going first with Anil, and Anil could be anybody you want him to be. So for example, if you would like to, it's whatever yes you're seeking in the world. So it could be a sale. It could be a yes in like a leadership conference, contribution. Maybe it's your book deal. Maybe it's you becoming like the CEO of Disney. Who knows? Like whatever the conversation would be from hello to yes, whatever would be the most meaningful one to you, you would ask Anil to be whoever that is. Could be himself or anybody else in the world. So it'd be, yeah. So would you like to go first? Would you like to go first or Zuby go first?
I'll go ahead and go first.
Cool. All right. And who would you like Anil to be?
I'd like Anil to be a leader who has a team for which he has some development problems with.
Awesome. All right. And then you can have 3 minutes with about 30 seconds to go. You'll hear my alarm go off. That's your 30-second warning. At 3 minutes, I'll be like, hey, Anil, you had a quick phone call. You just pause and come back. And the first section, judges, what you're assessing, Patricia and Zuby on, is how they open the listening, just in this first half of the conversation, the depth of connection, the opening of listening, and having something be at stake. You know, human influence is based on something being at stake. If we're speaking in with no rapport, nothing at stake, we kind of sound like Charlie Brown's teacher, wah, 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 wah. So it's how effectively we're opening listening and putting something at stake on heart-to-heart versus head-to-head connection. And with that said, Patricia, you have any other questions?
No, I think
All right.
we're good to go.
Yeah, take us in. So Neil, answer the phone, go hello.
Hi, Neil. How are you?
I'm amazing, Patricia. Thank you for calling.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for taking this call. I received your name and information from our mutual friend and wanted to check in with you because she told me about some leadership problems that you're having.
Yeah, I kind of feel stuck.
So tell me a little more about yourself before we get into your leadership problems.
Yeah, so I lead a team of 12 really nice, kind individuals, and we're on a project. Actually, it's a secret project that we're working on, and it's Star Wars based and it's Disney based. So we can't really disclose too much detail about that stuff.
I definitely understand, especially since I have a Disney background myself. So I totally get it. When it comes to your team, what would you say is like, oh, very nice. Let me see that again. Oh, awesome. Mickey and Minnie. Most people either have one or the other. So I like the fact that you have both of them together.
I like to play safe.
For sure. So what would you say is like the heartbeat of your team?
We're very passionate, but sometimes we tend to go off at different tangents.
Okay. And when you're going off on different tangent, is that project related? Is it really environment related? What do you think is really like the core of that when it happens in regards to pattern?
You know, someone will say something and then someone else will say something, and then all of a sudden we're talking about something completely different, and it's really hard to get back on track.
Gotcha. So what are the most frustrating parts for you in that process?
Well, you know, people lose their focus, they lose their attention, and then we waste so much time.
I definitely understand that. So let me explain to you a little bit about myself and why I can say that I even do understand that. I know for me, when it comes to my team, a lot of what we do is moving on from one project to another. So very similar to what you're referencing. And the biggest part is working towards fast teaming, but also having the team fully motivated in moving forward in that fast teaming. So it's really trying to reset their minds and get them moving in the right direction. So I get it with the displacement and all the different things that are coming into play. So that's why I was asking you about the heartbeat, because if the passion is there, then everything else is fixable, like 100% fixable. So what is it that you actually want to do with your team? Where do you want to take them?
You know, that's a really good question. Maybe I don't have enough clarity around that.
And Neil, you got to grab a quick phone call. Let's pick it up from there in a moment.
Okay. I've got about 30 seconds left.
Oh, sure. Okay, totally fine. I'd love to actually just come back or reconnect with you again, if that's okay, in order to speak about what you really want for the outcome of your team.
Yeah, I mean, I do need some clarity. Can you help me on the clarity of my outcome?
Absolutely. So with the passion and with the fact that you're dealing with all these different modules that are coming at and displacing your team, at the end of the day, where would you like their passion to take them when it comes to the project? Are you looking for more unity? Are you looking more in regards to a high performance on the way in which they go about their results? Or is it really trying to get the positive result every single time in regards to the end result?
It's productivity. That's the number one.
Okay, so it's productivity. Perfect. And when it comes to the productivity, you have the passion, so it's really just the displacement of getting caught up in little other pieces of the project, or I should say things that are causing them to get distracted.
Well, that's where I need the help.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's just pause there, Neil. Patricia, we'll come right back. Awesome job. Patricia, how'd that feel for you?
It felt okay. I was really just trying to maneuver my way through it, like, what scenarios can I come up with? Because I was trying to think back to what are my own scenarios.
That's awesome. And Neil, if you had one word for the interaction with Patricia, what would that be? How it felt?
She was very incisive. You know, she was really digging into exactly where I needed help.
Awesome. Well, incisive. That is definitely the first time the word incisive has been used on The Real Raw. So thank you, Anil, for that. And Patricia for co-creating that outcome. And Zuby, are you ready?
Yes. So this is the 3-minute part, correct?
Yes. And who would you like Anil to be? What's, a big yes you're seeking in the world?
I'd like Neil to be Robert Samuel Langer Jr. He's one of the 12 premier professors at MIT, co-founded 30 companies, chemical engineer by training and scientist and entrepreneur, and dubbed the Edison of medicine because he leverages his entire background in creating medical solutions. So the yes I'm trying to get from him is to convince him to lend some of his expertise and mentorship going from human medicine to solving problems in human disability.
Awesome. Anil, you are the Edison of medicine, and please take us in.
Hey, Zuby, nice to speak to you.
Hi, Professor Langer. Good afternoon. How are you doing up there in Boston?
Cool. I'm very cool indeed. Cold.
Yeah, and I hear that this hurricane Isa, however it's pronounced, is really wreaking havoc, flooding, power. How is your family doing?
You know, we're all well. I know a lot of people are suffering because their power has been outed, and you know, they've lost food, and with COVID, and it's a bit awkward, to be honest. But we're okay. Thank you for asking.
Oh, I'm so glad you guys are okay. And with MIT and the campus, are you going to be going remote, or are you going to be on campus, you know, with the COVID situation?
You know, there's some protocols we have to follow because of the government and some secret stuff that we're doing. So we have to follow all the protocols.
Well, Professor, thank you so much for taking time out of your extremely busy schedule to speak with me. I've read so much about you, how you're leveraging your background in chemical engineering as well as science with your Alanga lab in just tackling the most difficult and challenging problems in medicine. So I'm sure one way or another, I've probably benefited from one of your solutions. So from the bottom of my heart, and from humanity and mankind, I say thank you very much for all your work and effort.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that. That's my mission, to serve as many people as I can.
And we do appreciate it. Now, Professor, you have been dubbed the Edison of medicine, which is phenomenal. You've won from the Queen Elizabeth Prize of Engineering and Medal of Freedom, etc. But there's a particular demographic of humanity that is often overlooked. And this demographic consists of 1.2 billion people. Do you know the demographic I'm talking about, Professor?
Is it, actually, no, I don't.
Well, Professor, I'm talking about the disabled. I'm talking about people like myself. You might not know, but I am vision impaired. And in today's world, despite all of our technological advances, which you know very well about, 1.2 billion people are disabled, and they collectively suffer a 50% unemployment or 50% poverty rate. And I think that is just atrocious, you know, when you put it into context where we've advanced in humanity. And when then you drill down to those who are visually impaired, well over 300 million of people like me have to deal with a 90% illiteracy rate and a 70% unemployment rate. Now, when I give you those numbers, Professor, what is going through your mind? How does that make you feel?
You know, it's a difficult situation. It's something, honestly, I'm very ignorant around because I focus on what I'm really great at.
Oh, I know very well that you focus on what you're really great at. But Professor, like I mentioned, I have
20 seconds
looked
as a phone call.
At your work thoroughly, and I've studied most of your work, I'd say. And I'm thinking, how can we extend your work from human medicine to human disability? Is that something you'd like to discuss?
You know, if you have any suggestions, I'm happy to give away my technology if it helps anybody. If you can think of some ideas, I'll be open to them.
Well, thank you so much for that opening, Professor. If it's okay with you, would you like to reconvene where I'll be able to spend some more time to share some of the ideas that I have?
I would do, but I only have a 15-minute window.
Oh, that will just be great. I will follow up with on the other side. Sorry.
Take a quick pause. Zuby, excellent work. Zuby, how'd that feel for you?
Actually, I'm glad it flowed and I made it through, so not too bad.
All right. And Neil, if you had one word, how'd that feel?
Just get on with it. Ask me what you want. You know, I don't need the edification. You know, just say, hey, look, you know, how can I help you? I'm here to help you. You know, just ask.
All right, awesome. So let's start with the judges. So judges, we're going to score on a 1 to 10 scale, 10 being most optimal, and give about 40 seconds of feedback, maybe first 20 seconds or so. would be what you thought went well. Second 20 seconds, an opportunity for growth, both in Patricia's presentation and rapport building, as well as Zuby's. And you'll hear a buzzer with about 5 seconds to go in each one. And let's start with Kuda. Kuda, what do you have for Patricia? Countdown.
Yes, for Patricia, on a score 1 to 10, I think you were an 8. What went well, I think you were really open in the listening piece. You really dug in to really understand what is Anil's situation, what was going on, so that you could really, get back to him with things that really solve the problem. I think really understanding what's at stake, I think you could have taken the opportunity to understand what's at risk, right? To say like, hey, if this continues to go on, what's at stake, to maybe get a size of the prize and dig a little bit deeper into the pain, because once you, hit a pain point, I think it's easier to then connect to the heart and provide, your solution into it. So that's my feedback.
Excellent. And for Zuby?
Zuby, I think the way you did it was really great. I actually scored you a 9, mainly because of the way you approached your conversation. What I liked was you came in with facts. I'm not really sure about asking someone like the stat and say like, do you know what it is? I'm not really sure about the approach, but I thought it was quite interesting because it set you up to then really talk about the disabled people and really go that route. And the way you took it really made the person really open to wanting to help you. And you had really clarified the challenge and also established them as an expert. So I think you did well.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, Kuda. Paul Criscuolo, what do you got, Paul?
So I'll start with Patricia. Really liked the way you approached the talk. I really liked how it started out. I know Anil had tried jumping in right away to telling you the problems. I think the first thing he said was, I feel stuck. And while most people would have gone into that right away, you actually implored him to step back and tell you about himself first. So really like the way you were trying to build rapport from that perspective. When Anil mentioned that, his team is passionate, but they go off on tangents, I like how you started to probe more deeply into that. And you did really well connecting the issues that you've experienced with your team to the issues he was experiencing with his team. The one thing I think you could have done a little better is really driving home the what's at stake point. I think he gave you a couple of opportunities to dive further into the issues and the pain he's feeling. And I think you let a couple of those opportunities pass by. But overall, phenomenal job. I give you an 8.7. And then Zuby, I think you did extremely well as well. I like how you started off talking about the storm and the issues that are affecting, Anil to the extent he was up in Boston. The one thing I think you maybe would have been able to, and look, it's hard to do in a 3-minute conversation, but you could have probed a little bit further is, I know Anil had mentioned that, a lot of people in his area were dealing with power issues, etc. The 5 more seconds just confirming whether he and his family have experienced any of those issues could have also gone a little bit further to building the emotional rapport. I like the fact that you acknowledged his accomplishments. I actually like the fact that you drove home the point about the 1.2 million people being disabled and 50% unemployed. Maybe to Kuda's point, maybe you don't ask that as a question, but just bring it up as kind of a confirmatory statement to drive home the point. That's really the what's at stake in your argument. The one thing I think you could have done better is, and I think Anil had mentioned this in his review as well, is get to the point a little bit faster. You didn't get to where you were going with how you could have helped and how you could have each benefited each other and really what was at stake until you got to the last 30 seconds. So I've given you an 8.5.
All right, excellent feedback, Paul and Kuda. And Jack, what do you have for?
Okay, so Patricia, I'll start with her first. So Patricia, I think you did an awesome job getting related. There was a lot of connection there. I saw opportunity arise in the conversation. You guys were definitely, there was a high level of rapport going back and forth where I could see that if you would continue that conversation, you would have closed any conversation that you would have been doing, anything you were looking to create would have been created out of that because you had that relatedness level. And out of the relatedness came the opportunity, which I thought you did a phenomenal job. So as everybody else said, I would have rated you probably 8.5 as well. Zuby, I think I didn't see a lot of relatedness and a lot of connection. I loved what you were talking about, but I think you could have gone a little bit deeper in getting Anil to get connected to you. That would have created the opportunity a little bit deeper. So I thought that based on the relatedness being missing in that part of the conversation, I would have given you a 7.5. I think if you'd taken a little bit more time to get connected, the opportunity would have been greater. And so that's what I saw there on both of those.
All right. Thanks, Jack. Awesome. Zuby, Patricia, excellent job in round one. And Patricia, since you chose to go first in round one, you actually still get to choose in round two because you retain choice if you go first. So would you like to go first or second in round two?
I kind of feel like I should just get it over with.
Right? So this round is the judge will be assessing on how you opened up an access point and what's at stake related to Anil and these leadership dynamics. The second round is now really about you, your story, and how you're solving that pain through your conveyance of your heroic, unique identity. What are those characteristics where Anil is going to see his future in you and your ability to solve these challenges and moving to a yes? And that yes could be just a longer meeting. It could be the ultimate yes, whatever it is. But really it's about you and sharing yourself, your story, and moving that into what's the pain and what's at stake for Anil. Sound good?
Sounds great.
All right. Take us in, please, Patricia.
All right. Hello, Anil.
2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Hi, Anil.
Hi, Patricia. Thank you for calling back. Sorry, there was a glitch.
Oh, no problem. How are you?
Amazing. And yourself?
I am well. How have things been going with your leadership team?
We still have the same issues.
So with the same issues, what would you say is pretty much the major pain point of all of it?
I've come to realize it's probably me.
And why would you say that?
I realized after our last conversation, I'm more of a visionary, and I really don't like managing people.
So what would you say about that management is the most challenging part?
Really, handling people's emotions, handling how people show up, and, the nitty-gritty, the small stuff that's not important, but it becomes important.
Gotcha. So when it comes to your role, would you prefer to be more of an individual contributor versus a team lead, or do you actually appreciate the team lead but just want a better way of doing it?
I'm happy to be the leader, but I don't want to manage the group as such. So maybe it's something that you could help me with. If there's a way to manage the group and I can still be the visionary, that would be amazing.
For sure, there absolutely is. The question is, when it comes to the team that you have now, the attributes that they have, do most of them, or I should say, when it comes to most of them, do they function independently, or are they heavily reliant on you for direction and placement of where they should go on projects?
That's a great question. Individually, they're amazing, but when they get together, it's the word I would use sometimes is chaos.
Okay. So it's really providing some clarity within that foundation of project management and creating a system around that space in order for them to have routine or a standard in that, which also will give you space to do what you want to do creatively.
You just said something that was filtering in my mind, but I could never put words to it. Yes, that's exactly what I'm looking for.
Perfect. Well, I'd love to actually help you with that. It's one of my gifts. It's one of the things that I do in regards to my leadership development coaching business. And we actually help businesses go in there, create a system for their leadership. One, to give you the space to do what you want to do creatively and move more in the space of developing vision for your organization, while your managers and leaders are leading, but also building other leaders so that you don't have to go back in and do the same thing again. Sounds good?
Sounds amazing. I don't know how you knew that.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, the main reason why I know is because I've had the practice. I've practiced that same engagement and interaction over and over again with the teams that I've had to build or help other people build. So I definitely understand the pain of what you've been dealing with. And with helping you with that, what I'd love to do is set up another call with you to actually walk through a self-assessment of yourself and then provide you an assessment of your leaders, which would bring on the first foundation of really just understanding what are the issues you see versus the issue your leadership team sees, and make sure that those are aligned.
Last 10 seconds.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. If you can set that up, let's do it.
Awesome. So let's do that, and we will make sure to get you in the place of where you want to be in leading the vision and having your team lead all the ways of the results.
Excellent. Patricia, you could feel your awesome energy, and great job.
Yay! Thank you.
And by the way, in honor of your awesomeness and your Disneyness, Mona has something to share with you that she's wearing.
Oh, nice!
So this has been a Disney paint all the way. I'm like, wait a minute, like you're wearing, because I could see I'm like, is that peripheral? I'm like, is that a Mickey Mouse?
Sean is like, are you wearing a Mickey Mouse?
I'm like, you have to show Patricia.
Sweater? And I don't know what this is about, you guys, by the way. He just said you have to come here on camera and show.
Yeah,
show
so
her
Patricia's
your sweater.
platinum partner, so Jack, and Mona, platinum partner as well. So, hello.
Lovely.
I will ask for the story about Mickey Mouse a little bit later.
Okay, for sure.
Disney. So excellent.
Oh, very cool.
Yes. So
nice to see you. Nice to meet you guys.
Okay. So Zuby, are you ready for round 2?
Yes.
From your heart, I know you're beautifully powering through. Please take us in.
Hello again, Anil. I'm sorry. Hello again, Professor Langer.
Hey, Zuby, thank you for calling back.
Thanks so much again for taking time to speak with me again. And I wonder, have you had any opportunity to kind of reflect on our last conversation? And if so, any thoughts that you may have in your mind?
Well, you know, I did ask you to come back with some suggestions. So what suggestions have you got for me?
Sure. Well, like I mentioned, I have some ideas of how to extend your amazing impact on humanity from medicine into disability. Now, a little bit about myself and how all this came about. Like you, I'm also an engineer, but my route is a little bit different. I immigrated here right after high school to become a medical doctor. I started pre-med and I joined the US Army because I had only $200. But then within 2 years, I became legally blind. So macular dystrophy is damaging my central vision. So that led to a military discharge and ended my medical studies. And then that's what forced me into computer engineering, which through my engineering career, I've worked for Fortune 500 companies like Goldman Sachs, IBM, and Nokia. So I have extensive software engineering background, but then Conrad dystrophy also killed my engineering career. At which point I decided to rewrite my own story for a better outcome. And I started creating solutions for people who are visually impaired. And my solution is a brain control solution to help people who are disabled control their assistive tech. So what does this really mean? Well, it means that today we are able to tap electrical impulses coming from our brain to control electronic devices. So imagine someone with a spinal cord injury who cannot walk. They can use their brain to control their exoskeleton. Or a wheelchair user can use their brain to direct their wheelchair. Or somebody who is blind can use their brain to magnify things and zoom in and zoom out, etc. So that's the kind of impact I'm trying to create, just following in your footsteps, what you've done in medicine, but to do the same thing for the disability crowd. So what do you think about that, Professor?
You know, firstly, I applaud you for overcoming not just one, but several adversities. You know, my father has SMD, so you probably have juvenile macular degeneration. So you've done really, really well. I applaud you for that. And, you know, I see that you want to make a difference. How can I help you?
Well, with your extensive knowledge in medicine, what I'm thinking of is, is there a way that we can create a lab under the Langer Lab at MIT to be able to start doing research on how brainwave and brain control technology can help the disabled? Because as you very well know, it all starts with extensive research.
20 seconds to go.
You know, it's funny you say that, but we've been working on some of that technology, but it's AI-based. Maybe we can use some of the AI-based systemology that we already have and bring you along and see what we can do together. I'd be more than delighted for you to come and visit the lab, and let's see what we can create.
Oh, that would be fantastic, because definitely we need machine learning part of AI to be able to do all the data processing, to be able to analyze and understand what the brainwaves are saying. And together, that will help alleviate all of the sufferings from the disabled community. Professor, I would really appreciate the opportunity to visit your lab. And thank you so much.
It'd be my pleasure, Zuby. My pleasure.
Excellent, Zuby. Excellent work. Jack, what do you have for Patricia and Zuby?
Zuby, first of all, I love the pivot. I love how you got personally connected. And I don't know if you noticed that when you got personally connected, conversation changed. Anil was connected. Anil saw the opportunity. And I think you did a fantastic job with the adjustment there. So I give you a 9.5 on that adjustment. That was phenomenal.
Thanks.
Patricia, you killed it. You took it right through. Relatedness, opportunity, possibility, action, completion. I saw the whole thing from start to finish. So for that, I give you a big 10 on that one.
Tens are rare in the real raw. Patricia is on the 10. Excellent, Jack.
Awesome. Great job. Both of you guys did an awesome job, by the way. Awesome.
Thank you. Paul, what do you have? Thanks, Jack. Awesome, brother.
Great. So I'll start with Zuby. Great job. I agree with Jack. You know, better job this time around connecting. I still think you spent a little too much time. You know, you were talking about the controlled solution. I think you got a little bit too specific in a 3-minute conversation into the details of that. But I do like the way you provided examples and were able to tie it together that way. I really liked how you connected towards the end when Anil had talked about the lab and what they were working on with respect to AI, and you were able to speak specifically to that and tie in relevant examples to that. So really great job on that. Definitely a better job connecting, I think, this time, and I had you at a 9. And then Patricia, you know, great job again as well. I think you did a really good job at probing. When Anil had first talked about, you know, his main issue was managing the people. I think you did a good job probing about that. You nailed specifically what issue he had, and then you tied in how you were able to address that. I think you could have gotten to that a little bit sooner. You know, and then you could have spent a little bit more time on how you're able to help him and the value you're going to be able to add to him. The other point I would have gone a little bit deeper on was you had mentioned that you had the same issues in your practice as well, but you didn't really take that next step to tie it together in terms of what those issues were. Maybe given an issue that you had with your team that could have tied in specifically to what some of the issues Anil was dealing with. But again, great job from your perspective as well. And I had you as a 9 as well on this round.
Excellent. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. And Kuda, what do you have, sir?
Yes. So I'll start off with Zuby. Like Jack said, I really like the pivot as to how you took the conversation. So when he said, you know, what suggestions do you have? Really liked how you then flowed into it. I think your heroic story of, how you went to med school, and then you had this adversity and you were able to overcome it, and you faced another one and you were able to overcome it. I think that really opened the door right there. And once that door was open, you were able to walk through it and get to a yes. So I liked how it all flowed and connected. I gave you a 9. I think there could have been perhaps an opportunity to maybe talk about, I don't know how to say this, but how this technology will be applied once it's live. But I think the idea was for you to get to a yes, so you got there. But I think, talking about, what are the practical realities after launch could have been something that would have shaped the conversation even better and maybe unlocked more opportunities with the professor. And Patricia, great job. I really liked how you probed deeper and deeper in really getting a sense of what the issue is. There was a part where I actually think you had missed that window for you to introduce your heroic identity, because I felt like you kept on asking when a door was open, but you were going somewhere with it in your head, and you kind of like had your route, and you were able to get there. My only caution is, with 3 minutes, and if you have a short window, when you see an opportunity and you let it pass, it might not come back again and time will run out. So just a caution there. And towards the end, I think sometimes you want to seal the deal. Say like, hey, when are you ready to start, right? Like, leave the scene of the crime with a date, and make sure that they're ready to start taking action now. But I think it was strong. You got the result you wanted, and I actually give you a 9.1. So good job.
Nice, excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you for that, Kuda, Paul, Jack. And as we round it home in the final couple minutes real quick here, and thank you guys for your energy, your time, your investment, your courage, your vulnerability, both the judges and participants, because to judge and give real feedback is every bit as potentially something people would fear as much as presenting. So awesome job. And Melody, are you still here, or did we have Melody jump?
I am still here. I was listening.
Yeah, so how'd you feel about today?
Absolutely amazing. I just love the dynamics. And again, just the, the diversity that we have here of different talent pools and different experiences. It's just beautiful to behold. Just, a great collaboration of mindsets.
Cool. Can we jump in? Would you mind role playing with me for just a moment?
Me?
Yes.
I'm back.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. So I'm going to be, I'll be Zuby for a second. And would you mind being the professor?
Sure.
Okay. So what I want to illustrate is the dynamic of putting something at stake. I think there's amazing sequencing that occurs in taking people from hello to yes with integrity in our heart. And again, like we talked about earlier with Charlie Brown's teacher, the want. It depends on how we open listening. And there's like this awkwardness of like, how do we go from like hello all the way over to yes? Like, how do we get there? So let's just play with something in the at stake-ness. So Professor, thank you so much for taking just a couple minutes to talk to me. I really appreciate it.
No, you're very, very welcome, and I appreciate your time of just, wanting to get to your next levels and just getting to the place where you know that this is what's right for you.
Yeah, well, thank you. And, the dynamic, listen, I'm not confused about who you are. I know you go by the moniker, the Edison of medicine. And, some people are fans of like Michael Jordan, Muhammad Ali. I'm actually a fan of your work, and I respect it immensely. So thank you for everything you're doing in the world.
I'm very, very humbled. This is what I do, is just to live to serve others, because at the end of the day, it's about legacy. What is the message we live?
And you took my next question, out of my mouth. Thank you. So what is that legacy? What's the why? Service, impact, but what really drives you? Like, what do you want to be remembered for? What are you creating in the world?
Well, I would like to say that when I stand before my Creator, I've used every single gift that He has given me, and I have nothing left. Because at the end of that, when you really, really look at the reflection, how will you be remembered by? It's not by your wealth. It's not by your name, but it's how you made others feel, and how you've, basically just showed up for them at the times that probably many times that no one has showed up for them. Right? It's the feeling. It's how you transform their lives without putting you or ego in that space.
Professor, I can feel that in my heart and my soul. That is remarkable. And in these last few seconds, honoring that your desire is to stand before God, your creator, whatever you call it, and to stand in that full utilization of your talents and impact. So would it be okay if I share just a little bit about myself and really the purpose of my call?
Yes, please. I would love to hear about your journey.
Yeah. So my name is Zuby, again, and I'm somebody who is up to thinking about the extraordinary rates of disability and disenfranchisement that exist in the world. Hundreds of millions of people suffer from a condition like blindness, including myself. And 90% of those people have massive challenges with literacy. 70% of them are unemployed. And that's just the beginning of the story about folks with disabilities. And in light of your desire to, have impact and not see things about money, what I would really appreciate would be the ability to spend a little bit longer amount of time, 30 minutes of your precious and valuable time, I know that it is, to explore how we might be able to create some things in MIT and through your work that could change the suffering, the disenfranchisement of disabled folks. And I'm up to, I'm not just an idealist, I'm not asking for money. I'm deep into the space of neuroscience and understanding how we can control different dynamics technologically through our mind and our brain electricity. And these are things that I'm up to. And I love to share some ideas and thoughts to see if we can begin to incubate some projects here with you, your brilliance, and with the resources of MIT.
You know what? We are so aligned in the values of you wanting to do something to serve others that are truly in need that I'm going to give you more than half an hour. You're going to take the time as much as you need, and we'll block the entire afternoon.
Well, I appreciate that, Doctor. Thank you so much. And then I move into a date. So Melody, how did that interaction, if I'm Zuby, you're the professor, how did that feel?
Oh, that felt very organic and nothing is forced. We both have that aligned vision. We see what I see from my perspective is that you're there not for your own personal gain, but you're really there in integrity and the service of others.
Yeah, awesome.
Right.
And so thank you, Melody. And for all of us, as we wrap it up for today, I think the issue is heart-to-heart communication. Like we use words, right? And words don't have exact specific meaning, but heart-to-heart, I think, well, for me, means authentic, flowing communication and energy between two people. Like that's how we use heart to heart. And when we first are stepping into the other person's space and understanding what they truly value, like where they're going, and we acknowledge it, and not just in words, but in listening, like we're present and listening. Like Oprah Winfrey said, she held the microphone for 30,000 people because her mission and the impact from her encounters on her show was I see you, I hear you, and what you say matters to me. Everybody wants to be heard. That professor, more likely than not, probably 90%, doesn't feel heard and understood in the world, despite awards, accolades, posters on the wall, whatever, right? That's just how the human condition is. And so we grant that depth of loving, authentic listening. We capture the attention and the listening of others when it's authentic and real. And then after we've truly gotten the other person and we're like, hey, could we share the transition into our heroic unique identity, our mission, their listening comes from a different place versus the energy, and Zuby did beautifully, this is for all of us, versus the energy of, okay, what's the pitch? Hey, look, what's your pitch? What's up? All right, go ahead, pitch me, right? And just the energy in response to the energy of pitch me is I don't pitch. I'm not pitching. I'm here to see if we align on exchanging massive mutual value that could even make the world a greater place, your world greater, my world greater, our world greater, and that's it. So those are my thoughts for today in this Fun Friday. And thank you so much, Melody, for your generous time contribution and for everything you're up to. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. And Anil, again, thank you, brother. You did a fantastic job. I know you have some fun and creativity with some of how you space and seed objections, but your heart and generosity is received and present.
Thank you. And Patricia, I'm not just trying to pull the home card, but I live on Disney property in Celebration. So
You're
if
so
ever you need
close.
to,
Amazing.
We have to meet up.
Well, I want to meet up with both of you and like hang out in Disney space. Like this is amazing. So thank you.
And another fun fact, I was in the first year of Platinum 20 years ago. There were like 35 of us. So
Wow.
things have changed.
I never knew that. Were you
Yeah,
like, did you go on safari to Africa or one of those trips, Anil, or what did you guys do?
It was before we went skiing in Sun Valley. Then we went to Carnival, the same trip. We hired a private jet. We went to Vegas. We went to Italy on a boat, on a yacht with Sage and Tony. We had some amazing times, and it was very intimate. You know, so it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that is amazing. I never knew that. So thank you for sharing that. Amazing. And Patricia, how was today for you?
Today was spectacular. Thank you all for your energy and insight and really just all of the engagement. I learned quite a bit. One, I realized that I give myself too little credit. And the other is really just sticking to the notion of what I do know in looking to serve. And as long as the conversation is about that and what I'm ultimately looking to serve in, then I'm in a safe space. So thank you so much for this forum.
No, thank you, Patricia. You did a fantastic job. And clearly there is a desperate need for rising leadership. And this is an area that you have massive expertise and heart-centeredness. So thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Zuby, how was today for you? Thank you for battling through your energy depletion and physical challenges, and much appreciated.
I am so glad I made it through. When you were talking, I felt as if I was watching Obi-Wan Kenobi teach Anakin Skywalker, you know, Star Wars, right? So,
Oh, brother, as long as you don't whip out a lightsaber on my butt in episode 3. That's awesome, Zuby. Thank you, and I appreciate that very much.
That was amazing. Thanks to all the judges. I remember all the names: Jack, Paul, Kuda, and Melody for hosting. And thank you, Patricia, for going first. If you ever want to change career, become an FBI interviewer. Like, you will get all the answers from all the criminals.
Thank you, Zuby.
Program. I was like, wow, that is crazy. But thanks so much for the opportunity. This was wonderful. Thank you.
Well, Anakin, stay on the side of the force and light. Awesome job, brother. Kuda, how was today for you? And thank you so much.
Today was great. I learned a lot. First time being here, and really got to see the formula in play. Adam and Fernando has told me about it, and I need to use this, especially when I'm selling my cookies. So thank you so much for this, and it was good to see other people kind of like demonstrate it. So now I have a little bit more clarity on how it works. But I'm gonna ask to be excused. I have a 4:15 call I have to hop on. So thank you so much. And hope to see everybody again soon.
Well, thank you, Kuda. Appreciate you. Paulie C., how was today for you?
Awesome. What a great collection of talent on this call. Couldn't be prouder to be a part of it. And as I mentioned to you, Sean, anytime, you need assistance, happy to help out. And being a judge, it's interesting. You think you learn more as a contestant, but I honestly, and I was a contestant at one point, I honestly think I learned as much, if not more, being a judge. It probably goes to that old saying, if you really want to learn something, try and teach it. So from this perspective, it was awesome. Happy to do it again whenever you need me.
Well, you got a lot to do, brother. Thank you.
Yep.
And Jack, thank you so much for your wisdom. And how was today for you?
That was phenomenal. First time watching this as well, and really got a lot of insight on it. Just like Paul said, it was interesting to be in the judge's position, because it was a great opportunity to learn, and watch you close that out at the end was phenomenal. Really got connected to what you were doing there. So that was awesome. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Jack. And for everybody, we're all here as influencers, influencing influencers, to merge ecosystems to make the world a greater place. And I think it could be a lot more simple, fun, and magical than we often think. That's what this is all about. It's Fun Friday. Really appreciate all of you. Have a beautiful rest of the day and weekend. Thank you and see you soon.
Great weekend. Thanks.